Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Hardcore Metal Detecting Radio. I'm Derek Asklar and Craig Talley's on the line here. We'll be hosting the show tonight. We're going to have open lines here in just a few minutes there. Our phone number is 352-504-4170 if you want to call in with and join the conversation, really. Start up a new topic or whatever we start with there. They got some big news tonight. I put it up on the title right there. Craig and I and a couple other people have been working on something for a while now, and we found a platform to do it on. It was Patreon, believe it or not, but we're trying to work it in a different way a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and post up the. Oh my goodness, guys! I am sorry about that. I hit that doggone mute button, so I guess I got to start this whole thing over again. Craig, I'm having one heck of a day. Welcome to Hardcore Metal Detecting, guys. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but at any rate, I'm Craig Derek Asklar, and Craig Talley's on the line there. We have these footballs every once in a while. Usually it's my fault, but welcome to the show right there. We're going to be having open lines here in just a little bit. Pretty much going to have, if you want to call in with a question or comment or what have you, call in at 352-504-4170 and we'll get you on here and you can join the conversation if you'd like. But we had some big news. Craig and I have started up a Patreon page. It's a good platform for the way that we want to run to fund our radio show and the things that we want to do to be able to help others also in the hobby. Craig and I have been in the hobby for many years, and we have a lot of specialties in the hobby. Craig is, he has so much experience with metal detectors themselves. I've been involved in a lot of the review of products and working with the electronics of them, and relic hunting myself. And the one thing that we have always found is that it's very hard to get, I guess, your stuff recognized, or your YouTube videos, Facebook pages, and that kind of thing. And we thought that we could maybe get this Patreon a shot and do it in the right way to help others also. and help them in the hobby. So I put it up on chat where it's Patreon at patreon.com hardcore or / hardcore metal detecting. And it's up on chat right there, and you can check it out. We're going to be trying right off the bat to get a little bit better sound equipment. We're doing pretty good right now, but we want to get stuff that's more mobile, clear, but it's easy to carry around, because we have a lot of plans in the future to be starting not only live radio interviews and stuff like that, going to people's places and doing interviews that way, but also live streaming. We're going to have a newsletter starting to come out, and this is all for our supporters and stuff like that. Along with swag and stuff, for hardcore metal detecting radio. A lot of guys have asked me about hats and t-shirts and that kind of thing. We're going to be having those where we're going to be giving away something every month. And as the goals get higher, and I'm still learning it too, so bear with me, but as the goals are achieved, we can just do more and more. And this is just the stuff that we've come up with in the past week or two. We plan on adding a lot more, because our ultimate goal is to involve more people in this and give them more opportunities, because it's so hard to do this stuff. Get your Facebook pages recognized and to get subscribers on YouTube, and just a whole gamut of stuff that you can get into through metal detecting. A lot of people have specialties or things that maybe you make a product. Maybe you're into photography or videoing things, and we wanted to offer that our help in that if we can do it, because we're all in the same hobby. We're all enthusiasts about metal detecting and even bottle hunting, prospecting, and stuff like that. As the goals got higher, we talked about what we can do. I said, why don't we start giving away good stuff? I mean, we're talking quality digging equipment, and pinpointers, headphones, to our subscribers or supporters. And Craig thought that was a great idea. Not cheap stuff. I mean, the good stuff. And a lot of us can't afford it all the time. So one person a month, or however we have it figured out on Patreon, right there is just one of the things we want to do. And as it builds up higher, we really wanted to go for expense trips where we could go to where you live, your town, for the weekend, and maybe help you out with your metal detecting. For some of you newcomers, be able to help you out, teach you a little bit about the hobby, teach you some tricks and tips and that kind of thing, and help you out to make your hunt better or something like that. Or even if you don't have very many places to hunt, or you just want to come down to Florida or go to Virginia, be able to bring you guys down, pretty much travel expenses and lodging expenses paid for a weekend or a few days anyways, and let you hunt down here where we hunt, or in our towns. Take you over to the East Coast and let you hunt the beaches, show you what I know about it, have fun, camaraderie. And so, we have a lot of this stuff planned all the way up to live, I guess you call them live streaming videos of actually doing this, so we can actually put that on Patreon for other supporters to check out, maybe, help them out a little bit, or at least be entertaining. And the goals go up and up from there. I mean, really, the sky's the limit, Craig. I mean, Craig thought I was aiming pretty high to even be able to get a camera person. And I thought about why, go, unless we have one of the guys that likes to do that for a living or whatever, that metal detects, but go to a college and offer that to a film student. They need to have all these projects and stuff like that, and be a good thing on a resume. So, trying to give opportunities to other people to give back to the hobby. So I just wanted to mention that. You can check it out on Patreon. But, Craig, I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to say either. It kind of got all messed up when I first started the show up, as usual with me. I can't win for losing. But you're hitting the wrong buttons.
I think one of the first things we need is get you a new computer that doesn't have a mute button on it.
No, I tell you. I really specifically looked at that when I must have clicked it anyways. I'm not sure what the heck I did. But, well,
it's we don't know. We got a general plan right now, but this we don't know where this is going to go. So we're going to take it one step at a time. But
Yeah.
we're kind of excited about it because I see some other people that are not making a killing off Patreon or anything, but they're making enough where they can upgrade equipment and stuff mostly. And a lot of these groups, they send out stickers and stuff like that, and it's hard to do raffles on there. I'm on one, and we were doing computer generated drawings, and
Right.
all of a sudden we did it for about, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, something like that, and I guess we had about 120 people on it. But all of a sudden, Patreon says we can't do it anymore. It's against their policies, and
Right.
they just kind of made it up. So
it gets kind of difficult trying to figure this stuff out, Craig, because we had planned on doing another project before this one, and the amount of money was hideous and it was really just a community for metal detectorists, and it was just nuts. I mean, just the startup was like crazy, $3,500 to start the thing, and it was a good thing to do, and it was for the right reasons, but being able to afford it is pretty hard because you got to be a little bit in the black. Me and Craig are in the red, but we always live in there anyway. So, but it was a way for us to.
But you got to use social media platforms and stuff for two reasons. One is it's there's three reasons. It's easy. Most of your listeners and people are going to be on there. And the other thing is it's the cheapest way to go. I mean, there's no other way that gets that kind of reach.
Right.
But you got to kind of sell your. They take your privacy and probably everybody else's for with it.
Well, so many places
that's
too.
Just the way it goes. I mean,
yeah.
Otherwise, there isn't anything else. It's everybody keeps saying they need an alternative, but I haven't seen one yet.
Right, you got to try something. But yeah,
and I've been on these all the. Oh, I was also going to say we just started a Instagram page, HMD Radio, and I posted up the Patreon, something about the Patreon page, and then one on their story, and then I did a little video, and so I'm going to be posting photos and stuff of interesting photos and stuff. I do that on my own. I have an Instagram page called Bliss Tool Deus, and I guess I got about 1,040 followers on there, but I post up all kinds of photos and stuff on there. So I'll be doing the same on this one.
Yeah, we also
they'll be related about metal detecting and things like that.
Yeah, we also have a Twitter page that started up, or that my Bethany got started up and everything also. And for me, it's some of this stuff Craig's really good at, other stuff I'm good at. So we're having to kind of merge and kind of get on the same page on this stuff and get stuff fired up and everything. But this is it's what we came up with in the past week or so. What we were thinking things were needed to be done, and the help that maybe some people needed, and being able to do it, financially. Because be honest, this stuff doesn't. Some things they just cost money. I mean, you take a trip to go to a hunt or something like that, it could be $500 to $1,000 depending on where you live at and how far you have to travel and everything. And well, heck, it'd be nice to be able to go and hunt with other people, live stream and help others, or just plain have fun. But be able to also bring them here. And we having to keep it in the continental U.S., obviously, because, that's, just crazy. Like, I'd love to, have Gavin over here, but he lives in Australia, and heck, I don't even want to know what a flight costs coming from there. So, hey, maybe in the near future, we never know what's going to happen, but it makes, for very interesting radio and videos and stuff like that. And, people that have, a lot of us too, some people make products. The guys at Metal Tech, they make certain kind of products and stuff, but you can never get the word out there or anything. about it, or it's very difficult to. So we said, well, maybe we can give them a hand. How can we do this and help others in whatever they do in the hobby to get noticed, to get the information out there to people, and for paying for airtime on anything. Craig, I mean, you've looked it up just like I have. It can be crazy expensive, even on Facebook, to boost a post or something. And we often talk about that on the show. So we wanted to find a way that we can maybe get that word out there, because we do have a lot of followers and stuff like that, and they're like-minded people that enjoy the hobby. So what's better than that? I mean, you have friends checking out what other friends are doing, and help each other out. So this is just the first way that Craig and I've pretty much hoping that what we found that can do that, and do it in a controlled way where we're not infiltrated by all this crazy advertising and stuff like that of things that really doesn't apply to the hobby. You know what I mean, Craig? It's just with all the stuff going on in the internet, it's very hard, privacy and all that kind of thing, to do stuff. So, but yeah, that's what we want to start with the show out. But you can check out Patreon, patreon.com /hardcore metal detecting. And you guys can check it out on there. Let us know what you think. Be honest, because that's what we want. We want to know what you guys want and what we're trying to do, and a path to follow. But I see a lot of guys on chat right now. I got Michael Boyles and Ohio Relic Hunter and Peter. Oh, I'm going to butcher his name, Craig. I do this all the time. Horrible names. But Peter's on here, and Lloyd from Relics Radio, and several others, on chat right there. And it's a whole nother ballgame on chat, too, because usually there's a conversation going on about something different, about metal detecting or what have you, or they're cutting up on there. So, it's another thing we're going to be working into the mix anyways. So. But Craig, you've actually posted up a couple of videos this week. One of them is about that new detector shaft you were talking about, though, and I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit. I thought the video was pretty good, and it looks like a good product. I don't know what you think of it so far. Why don't you go ahead and tell them?
I've been looking at these. I saw first there was a carbon fiber shaft that came out a couple months ago, and then since then, I've seen about four different ones, and I was thinking, maybe I'd get one, and I like the Anderson one, but then I saw the one that had the red belly one, and I think there was another one that was kind of like that, and it was I think it telescoped about 6 inches. And so then I guess it was about 3 weeks ago, I caught this live stream, and it was a guy named Emmerich, and he was showing this new one called Telenox, and it's a telescoping. It's got two different shafts, and anyway, I was on this live stream, and he was unboxing and putting it together and putting it on the Equinox. And so they had a chat going. There was about 4 of us on there, I guess. And so I decided I'd ask a question, and I said, well, how much is that, shaft system going to be taking the weight off the Equinox? And so he said, I don't know. And he said, but I can find out. And so he whips out his cell phone and calls somebody. And then he says, can you wait a few minutes? And I said, sure. So about 3 or 4 minutes later, this guy comes in with a scale.
Oh, jeez.
So they weigh it with and without. And it turned out to be like, I think it was either 4 or 4.1 ounces lighter, which is 1/4 pound lighter. So, but this thing, well, anyway, I still was thinking about it, and I guess they'd been tweaking this thing. They'd had a couple little minor things that they decided to fix, and one of them was they put a ridge on the bottom side of the shaft at the top. So what they do is they have there's a plate on the regular shaft that's molded on it, and this one it comes with a separate plate, and when you screw it onto the control box, and there's a little shaft, and you can slide it up and down, and then tighten it wherever you want. And it even comes with the 2 special Allen wrenches for all the different screws and stuff. And then it's got two pieces where you can slide. So this thing can slide to about 22 or 23 inches height. Mm-hmm. It's about like the Deus, or even a little bit smaller.
Yeah, you can fit it right in a travel bag or whatever. Put it right in there, no problem at all.
Anyway, I was looking on eBay, and they were about $159 plus shipping, I think. I couldn't find them on Amazon, but so anyway, I saw this one. I thought I was going to get the one that was, one shaft was red belly and one was black, but I saw this one for $130 plus shipping, and I had $5. I think eBay gave me $5 off on it or something. So when I went ahead and ordered it, when it showed up, it said it was the black shaft. It was all black, which
right.
It doesn't. It's a couple bucks off, so it's no big deal. Still looks pretty cool, but anyway, it came from. It said it came from Serious Detecting. So I was thinking it was actually made in England, but I thought it was from an English firm. But that's the guy Evan that you deal with.
Yeah,
Serious Detecting. So that was pretty cool. I got it in 2 days.
Yeah, he's pretty good about that. He gets it right out there.
But it comes in this little box about maybe 4 inches in diameter, maybe 5 inches, and those tubes fit inside and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's about maybe 2.5 feet long. But it's pretty cool. I did a video on it showing it, and the guy that invented it was actually commenting after me.
That's pretty cool.
One of the first comments on I put it on all these Mind Lab forums, on Facebook, and they stayed up for a few hours, and then some of them are still up, and a bunch of them got taken down. But somebody said, "Yeah, because it's not a Mind Lab product," and I said, "Yeah, that's true." But I said, yeah. I don't see them with something cool like that. They should have come out with that.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I think there's several out there, but I like the one you got, Craig. It looks lightweight. It just looks like it'd be. I like that crease or whatever that is down the center of the shaft there to keep it from rolling.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
What happened is there's a lot of attention to detail with this thing, and this guy ended up, the thing ended up costing him more than he was, planning on, because he kept, making sure that it was, top of the line.
Right.
But one of the first comments on one of the pages I put it on was said that, that's really great. Now we're going to have the wires like stretching and wearing and breaking and pulling away from the coil now.
Oh, give me a break.
So I said, if you undo the straps, there's not going to be any problem,
right.
Obviously, but you always got people like that. Most people thought it was cool. Right. And one guy said, I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I think I'm dropping my money on that one for sure now.
Yeah. Well,
but anyway,
go ahead.
After I commented, then the guy, that was the first time the guy that invented it says, "Oh, this is the first time I've ever seen my product on a MyLab page," or something like that. And then he goes, "Yes, Craig is right, about not damaging the core,
Mm-hmm.
But and then there was a couple other comments, and he started commenting to other people, on that. But I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, well, you helped them out too. That was pretty nice of you.
There was 2 or 3 people that had, nasty comments, but the rest of them are,
Yeah, you deal with that. I mean, it's just one of those things. You always have some haters out there or whatever, and find the bad things.
But I thought it was, I think it's a cool as hell product. I won't be able to use it. We've been having like 97, 98 degree weather out here today.
Melting. Well, Bill Marsh said on his, he said he saw the shaft video and everything was good except for the groovy carpet, baby. Made me dizzy, LOL. So your carpet made him dizzy.
That's the mod carpet.
Yeah. Back to the 60s, buddy.
I don't even know where that carpet came from.
I don't
moved in the house. My brother stuck it in there. I just kept
I seen your door up there too. That's nice. The stealth diggers and all the stickers on the door right there. I like that. Detect your room. That got me a shot.
I got them on both sides of the door. The outside of the door is full of nothing but stealth digger, and then the inside's got everybody else. So,
yeah, I mean,
I thought a lot of people were saying that, they have a lot of stickers and stuff, and they don't really know what to do with them. And a lot of people put them on their cars, and I don't want them on the windows particularly.
Well, I put on some on my car at one time, and I have like VFW stickers and stuff like that on the back, and it's so hot down here, man. It bakes cars, and it eventually within a month or so, the stickers start crimpling up and stuff. The heat's so bad on the windows, and we have tinted windows too, so that probably makes it even worse on the outside of a window, anything. But yeah, I mean, that's a great idea. I mean, in my office, I was putting them in my showcase. Like I got some from Mark Hoover with Adventures in History. I got some from a card from Don't Tread on Me and New Age Goonies stuff, and I was putting them in my showcase I have, and just leaning them up next to finds and stuff like that. I got something from Barbara from Dirt Pirate Detecting and stuff like that. I wanted to be able to display the stuff out, but what do you do with them? You know what I mean? Where do you display them at so people could see them? And that's a good idea you had on the door, but I don't think my wife's going to let me stick nothing to the doors in this house. I have to go out to my office and put them on the office door.
Well, you get like a poster board or something.
Yeah, that might be good.
Do it that way.
Yeah. Because I've been doing it in the office in here, the show and stuff like that. And we're still moving stuff around and everything. And I still have a little bit of echo, and it's because of the rooms not having very much in them. And she won't let me put soundproofing on the walls, so I have to go out to my office for that too. I will set up a decent sound, whatever you call it, soundproof room. But I don't know, for what we do, we're just such regular people anyways, Craig. We don't, we just kind of do the show off the cuff, and it's, there's no script to it. Really tonight's the first time I've ever even scripted anything, and it really wasn't scripted. I just kind of, tell you what we're doing and, how we can help you and this kind of thing. But we're not one of those people that sit here and write everything out, and I couldn't do a show like that. That would drive me crazy trying to stick to some kind of script. I just like to go with it, We, the hobby, I know the hobby, and, the show just takes its own path, and that's what we've always loved about doing this show. We didn't have to, search for content, Craig, because, God, we live it. So,
yeah,
get out there detecting, getting dirty, like I said, getting dirty.
Well, we got plenty of practice. We've been doing it, for 5 years or something? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, the show, 4 years, 5 years, something like that.
I did a few 5 or 6, 7 shows before we did, we started our own up. But I've always been a talker. When I was a kid, in school, I had to write 10 million times on a blackboard. I will not talk in class. I've always talked too much, you know.
It was funny earlier. Craig was trying to get onto the new Instagram page, and he was trying to link it in. And I said, "Man, I don't know. I don't really do Instagram. I'm gonna have to start, but I don't understand it just yet. I do other things, so I told him, I said, "We'll give Bethany a call, and she wanted to talk to you, and she'll tell you how to do it." And sure enough, Craig calls her, and she knows do this, and this, and then I get a text message about an hour later, and she goes, "Craig does know a lot about the XP." My daughter doesn't metal detect. I mean, she's gone metal detecting with me, but she's not like an avid detectorist. And I just had to laugh because I'm thinking, man, Craig's talking to her and got her interested in the XP Deus, and she doesn't even know what it looks like. It is kind of comical, she's really good in Bethany Powell. She does a lot of different things for websites and pages and all that. Really, she's a smart kid, knows her way around it. But she was asking me questions about, okay, Dad, you got to do this, you got to do that, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, kid. I mean, you got to just walk me through it once and I'll get it, because we're computer savvy, but we've had to, I guess, a lot of times learn it on our own or call one, friends and stuff. Like I call Loy up, and and he's done radio forever, and since he was 14 or something like that, and it helps out because
it's like,
oh, go ahead, Craig. Sorry.
It's like we were hooking up Instagram, and I couldn't get it to work, and it was supposed to be like these three little lines that came up at the top, where I could link my page to that one, or
right.
Basically have both pages together. I can actually share from my page, my Instagram account, to the hardcore one. So I thought that was pretty cool, but I have to do it on my phone. I can't do it. I have to do it on the iPhone, but I can't do it on the iPad.
Right.
So that's the only thing that I couldn't figure. We had to figure that out. She said, "Are you on the phone?" And I said, "No, I was on the iPad." She goes, "Oh no, I got to go on the phone." And so then that little icons came up at the top, and it worked fine. So I can actually link from that page to Twitter and Facebook and I think Tumblr and a couple other things.
Yeah.
So, we had a lot of fun talking. She knows all about this stuff. It's
Well, the way we explained it too,
pretty cool.
The way she explained it to me, because I wasn't a big fan of Patreon at first, but we sat there. I talked to Bethany, and of course talked to Craig, and I was talking to Bethany about it. She said, "Dad, you can run this thing you don't have to do it like everybody else. I know the way you are. You're going to run it the way you want to run it for the purposes of hardcore metal detecting or whatever we decide to turn it, turns into." And we do morning shows and in the evening shows. We actually, on Patreon, as we get our levels up there, we're wanting to start a couple different kind of, it's dealing with metal detecting, but it's just a different format. It's more of a formatted show on different days, and to involve a lot of our listeners too, have you guys on, not necessarily as an interview, but just as get in on, maybe be a guest on, maybe you do, like I saw on here, Mike, I think Mike Boyles is doing electrolysis while he's listening to the show. Maybe you know a lot about that subject and get you on here and and help people out that way, and maybe it'll help you out too. Maybe you sell some of this stuff or whatever. Maybe you make shovels or whatever. That's why we were wanting to try to do something through Patreon and offer what we could right now, what we know we could cover, and add to it as we go along, and add and they call them tiers, with as far as being a supporter, what we can add to that to I don't know, help others.
Yeah, you could Well, you could have your own show. You could do an advertisement. You could promote your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff like that.
And I guess there's a wall. I'm going to call it the wall or whatever. You can put your name on it or what you do and everything else. So it's more social than anything else, Craig. That's why we're trying to make it anyways. So that, you can have help from others too. I mean, nobody knows everything. That's, I was saying like Loy was helping me out, or has helped me out in the past, especially with like Skype and stuff like that. I mean, you can't know everything. I mean, the best thing to do is call a friend that knows, and just, hey, can you help me out with this? And I just can't. I'm almost there, but I can't quite figure it out yet. So, and we actually get a lot of calls. Oh, go ahead, Craig.
Sometimes you try to Google the problem, and even that doesn't work. You got to get the expert out.
Yeah, definitely. But you guys can get to it if you hadn't heard, and I'll put it back up on chat too. It's patreon.com/hardcore metal detecting, and you can get to that page and check it out and everything. It's definitely, I don't know, it's the best format, the platform that we could find. I was looking at several of them because I actually had a couple of friends that had forwarded me stuff, and then the first thing was, Craig, that I had to click on it to let them use their cookies and stuff, or whatever they call that, advertising stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm not playing that game off the bat. I don't want it to be. And another one was like rolling it around to pay for it through going around the barn, so to speak, and coming back, and you're going to get money on a commission that way. And I was like, that's not even what I'm looking for. I don't want to get involved in that part of it. You got to be selective.
Sounds a little shady on that one.
Well, yeah, it just seemed like it was, and usually, first impressions are usually pretty good. So I want to keep it simple. I don't want it to be a big crazy, getting all these big names, companies and stuff that we as hobbyists don't want to have on there.
We know that Patreon works. I've seen it. And metal detecting is a non-controversial hobby. Pretty much. So I don't think we have to worry about anything like that, like some of these people are doing. But there's a lot of people that do it on YouTube, and they get, they're always upset about it, being demonetized or whatever. But I don't think, we fall in that category, really.
No. We've been just getting so many calls from.
They get a percentage. They get a percentage of money, but I mean, how else are you going to do it? I mean, it's just,
you can't.
That's the only platform that's really viable.
Any way you do it,
there's a couple others, but they're tiny. They're not really. They don't have the exposure. Everybody knows Patreon by now.
Oh yeah, well, you pay one way or the other, and I just, I'm like, kind of threw my hands up in the air with that because it's no matter which way I looked, there was always that catch in there. But, it's figured out, okay, I just got to live with it because that's the way it is. And I just can't figure out any other way to do it to be able to get the donate buttons and all that kind of stuff. I tried to do all that stuff, just to try to, because, it costs money to do a lot of this stuff to get these products and giveaways and, be able to do this kind of thing.
Like $60 a month just to, run the show.
Right.
On the platform.
And the thing was that Craig and I are getting so many emails and phone calls too. I mean, I get a lot of emails. I even got one today, and these are new people in the hobby, just getting into the hobby and asking, well, what do you think about this metal detector? What do you think about, and that's, I don't mind answering those questions, but I thought, if introducing them, so to speak, to others, through Patreon, through the radio show, that's helping them out too, because you're going to make another friend here. One of these guys on here probably uses that same metal detector. Somebody that's listening can help you out that way. And, it just never know what's going to lead at. I mean, I even have people still, ordering stuff. Well, I haven't got my product from so-and-so yet. Should I worry? And I'm like, well, I've never dealt with that particular person, but I'm sure if you send them an email and don't be rude and just say, I'm just wondering how the product, if my product's been shipped yet or whatever, trying to explain to them, because people in the hobby understand this already, but the people getting into the hobby don't know what to expect. There might be a backlog on machines. We've all seen that happen before where, they're not, they don't have enough of them produced yet. You have to wait on them. I think the Equinox is like that. And I know the Bliss Tool, when it first came out, several of them, and you got to be on a waiting list. So it's going to be a little longer to get your metal detector, but, you're going to get it. I mean, most of the dealers that I know of are pretty, on the ball, on Johnny on the spot about when they have that product, they get it to you because that's their credibility in their name. So, but we're getting so many of those kind of emails and instructional part of it too. Craig's been helping people out even in Austria and all around the world, really. There've been several of them. Craig, you have to translate the emails and everything else to help them out with whatever questions they have.
They do.
Yep. But, I just figured it was a good way to do this, because I tried to start up, we were trying to start up we call it a community, essentially, social media, but it wasn't. It was crazy money to get that kind of thing started up. It always comes down to dollars and cents, but I figured this was the best way to help also, because you'd be investing in something that can help you if you have a particular hobby inside a hobby. Metal detecting leads you everywhere, it seems like. It always opens up new doors for you. You meet a lot of different people. A lot of people do different things out there along with metal detecting. Maybe you're a prospector, bottle hunter, privy digger, whatever, and it leads into photography and videoing and podcast radio, obviously. So, you maybe have another specialty that you want to get out there, you want to do. It makes you happy, you have fun with it, and there's nothing better than doing something and for a living that you enjoy. Make it fun, don't make it work. So, that's kind of what we're doing with the Patreon thing. And it's kind of a different angle on it, advertising and stuff like that. But I thought it was even good for people that could advertise. Maybe, maybe we could help you out that way and get you some airtime and stuff too. And, there's really no limit, Craig, what you can do through podcast, through video. You know what I mean? As far as, really the sky's the limit. It's just your imagination's holding you back. And, Craig and I will always jump right in and, try to make something out of nothing, as far as, if we don't understand about a metal detector, by golly, we'll go buy the thing and try to, figure it out. That's what we've always done. And podcasting is no different. We jumped in with both feet, and we've made our fair share of mistakes, and we're not totally perfect like everybody else. But then again, our show is just unformatted. It gets crazy. Sometimes the chat is even crazier than we are. I watch on here and get Bill going, and you never know what's going to come out of Bill on the typing part of this thing. He's always
well.
I
remember
go ahead.
I remember when we first started. You were a little nervous, or a lot nervous.
I was a lot nervous. I think it's all these buttons and stuff I got, Craig. It just makes me nervous.
I kind of carried you for a couple months, and then all of a sudden, man, you took off, and you're just fine with it now. It's just natural, and it. We talked for so long. I mean, we've been talking for a long time on the phone and stuff. Anyway, and it's. It just became natural. It's just like talking like we normally do on the phone. So,
yeah, my wife says we sound like two old women talking on the phone around a campfire or something like that. We get talking about metal detecting and what we found, or stories or whatever else. I could probably just leave the thing on record. It's comical. She goes, "You guys are, you definitely know your stuff." Even Bethany said that. Greg's. Heck, he's got me wanting to start metal detecting now, and I don't even know what an XP is, other than a metal detector. I thought that was funny. She's a hoot. But, it's actually teaching her a lot, too, because, she's going through and reading a lot of the posts and stuff you guys are making on Facebook pages or whatever, because she's getting, she had to get the information from our Facebook pages and Twitter and all that stuff. And she goes, man, a lot of these people have some really good ideas and really good questions. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, that's why we continue on. It always adds to the content and interests most people. Even if it's not a topic that's really high on your list, there's always some part of it that you might remember. So, and might help you out in your hunt or whatever else. And, so it's good information. What's wrong with that? We listen to all of the other shows too. It's like with, Lloyd, I saw Josh Kimmel on here, Beyond Sight and Sound. Josh has been doing podcast radio for several years longer than us. And he always has, real decent guests on there, and you never know what he's going to do. Josh is, heck, I remember when we were over there in Chicago, I met Josh, face to face for the first time. We were up at that Detector Palooza up there in Chicago with Chicago Ron and all that. And that's back when Detecting Lifestyle was going. And I tell you, Josh is a character too. And man, talk about good with the detector. He's out there doing his thing too. So, but Josh puts on a great show. And of course, Loy and he does that, Relics Radio. He's on there tonight. Got All Metal. But there's a lot of different shows on Spreaker, metal detecting wise. And really, Craig, I was looking around. There's not, I can't find very many more. I mean, I know there's a few more, but I mean, as far as on other platforms, it's...
There's some that are like monthly or every couple
right,
weeks.
Every couple of weeks. Right.
Or they just put one out, for a club or something over in Britain. But yeah, it's I saw another statistic that it's hugely growing in Britain and in Europe in general, and that people are over there. They're on the trains, the buses, going to work and stuff. Listening to podcasts. And, so it's disrupted radio to the point where people don't want to be on a schedule to have to listen for something. You can just click on the show and start listening. And from everything I see, it's advertiser friendly. The advertisers are starting to really like this. It's they're starting to realize that it's especially with the younger demographics, like they want to reach the younger people with products that they can advertise.
Right. And
you can do people don't seem to mind a 90-minute or 90-second commercial like
not
they
90
do
minute.
on 90-second, but
nice.
The 30-second and 90-second are the two most done on there. But it just they're seeing a lot of interest in this, and I was looking through. There's a lot of diverse topics. There's some people that like kind of read stories, even.
Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of styles out there.
Yeah. Comedy, all kinds of things.
Yeah. Even doing these, we're calling them U.S. excursions or whatever, going, pretty much going out to different states and stuff. I mean, I love to travel. I know Craig does too, going to different states and hunting different areas. Why not do that with one of the supporters and hang out? Maybe, heck, we'll learn something, they'll learn something, and who knows what kind of relics we'll find or what have you. Or, maybe you've always wanted to come to Florida or always wanted to go to Virginia. Heck, that's part of the goals there, even is be able to, and the expense of travel is what gets all of us. I mean, we go to a hunt, and I mentioned it earlier, $1,000. I mean, between flights and car rentals and all this kind of stuff to go have fun for a weekend. We want to be able to, do that for you, so you don't have to worry about that. You just enjoy yourself and come in metal detector. We go out and see you. I'd like to be able to do it around the world. That'd be great, Craig. I've always wanted to go over to the UK and hunt and stuff like that, or heck, any country. It really don't matter as long as I could get a coil to the soil and go hunting. But it's an opportunity for us also to be able to meet people from all over that do this. And we watch their videos. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, like Darren Groves over in the UK. I mean, I don't think he's doing videos anymore and everything. Health-wise, he couldn't do it. But man, I learned, a lot about the different stuff they find over there. Different style of hunting, detectors they're using. It's just, I don't know, it's fun. We're all like-minded in this community of detectorists. But yeah, to be able to find stuff that's however, thousands of years old, heck yeah, sign me up for that. Shoot. But
it's like I was on the one Facebook page, and the guy that invented the Telenox was saying, he was commenting after me saying, "Oh, that's the first time I've ever seen my invention on the Facebook page."
It's pretty, that's sad too. The guy makes a good product, obviously. I like the look of that detector shaft and everything, but it's tough. I mean, we have friends that have. Matter of fact, some of them are on the show right now that have made products and everything else. And it's very difficult to get it out there to get people to notice it without costing a pocket full of money to do it. And it's if we can help help out with that too.
That's why we started the podcast.
Yep. And
because it was the only way that you could get any kind of reach at all for not as much money. I mean. It was just, it was ridiculous. A lot of these ads aren't targeted. We have to have a targeted ad to our audience because it's a certain type, it's small.
Right.
It's not like a general product that everybody's going to want, So it's some of these advertisements just don't work for us.
Well, I get tired of the ad blasting. I call it ad. Where they just throw it out there. Oh, we're going to let 20,000 people see whatever, and it's going to cost you this much money. I'd rather have I know where our people are, where the people like metal detecting are. They're listening to podcasts, or they're on Facebook. That's great. I want them to be able to help each other too. Whatever, and help, get ourselves out there too, because it just adds to content to shows and everything else. I think it's a positive thing all the way around. But as far as throwing us out there, it's kind of like it reminds me of telemarketing, Craig, in a way. Just call 1 million people and one of them will answer. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I don't like that kind of advertising. I like it to be, I want to hear a commercial. I want it to be something about, metal detecting or outdoor activity or something. I don't want to hear about, a hospital or insurance company or stuff like that. It doesn't really interest me at all. I mean, I know we got to do what you got to do. Monetization, you're kind of at the mercy of. Not that I don't, we don't need these kind of things, but, if you have a choice to choose and to bring in people that are involved in a hobby or sell a product for the hobby or whatever, to me, that's always a better choice. It makes for better listening time for everyone, including me. I mean, I learned something too, right? So that works.
Yeah.
But, I know you had those headphones too. And we talked a little bit about them on I think it was morning show and everything. Craig, I don't know how you guys think Craig sounds. And I know he sounds a lot clearer than he used to just talking on his iPhone, but he got a new microphone gaming headset, and he has it hooked right up to his iPhone. And I think it's doing a pretty doggone good job. I think you did a video on it.
I know it sounds great, but I actually listen to the shows, and I can tell it's a lot better. I went to Best Buy and ended up talking to this geek that did gaming systems, because I talked to the first guy, and I said, I was thinking about a gaming system for podcasting on my phone, and so he goes, "Wow, I never thought about that." Because he was saying, well, Bluetooth. And I said, Bluetooth's got lag. And he goes, yeah. So I said, I need some kind of headset. And I don't care about the earphones. I want the, good mic. And
right.
So there's no information on mics much on these things, And so the geek even looked up the microphone systems, and he couldn't find much information on them. But he was a guy that put together gaming systems up to like $150,000 gaming systems. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, they got monitors spread out 6-7 feet across the desk, And I put all these things together for these guys, and, and he said, that's what I do for a living. And so I said, so he was showing me all these different, headsets, so I was almost ready to pick this one. I said, well, maybe I'll try this one, and if it's not good enough, maybe I'll come back and try another one. And so then I said, well, wait a minute. I said, which one do you use? And so he grabbed this one set, and he goes, this is what I use. And I said, he said, this is like the second one from the top of the line. It was like 100. The one I got was $100.
Right.
But I think the other one was like maybe 150. There's one called Steel that was like, I think 179. But I've seen some in the I think on Amazon they were 250, 400, stuff like that. But
yeah, they can be crazy prices, or sometimes you get a good quality just for like one step under. I think that's what you did, didn't you, Craig? As far as the ratings on them. You had one.
Well, I figured, if this guy's, if this is what this guy uses, and he's putting together $150,000,
sound
video
system,
games for people, then it's probably pretty good. And it's got this little flexible, boom microphone on it with a foam little sock on it. So, and it's got noise canceling.
Yeah, I think it sounds good. It's a lot clearer than the other one was, or just talking on a cell phone. But, and then we were talking about that too. And, like we had Brandon Stewart calling in every once in a while. And man, it sounds like he's in a studio, man, on his phone. I don't know. He has a Galaxy phone. I don't know which one it is, but my God, it has the most perfect sound. It sounds like he's sitting right next to me, and it's got bass and all that stuff to it. And I told Craig, I mean, you're using an iPhone, but it doesn't really matter anymore. It just depends on I guess it's just the microphone they put in them. Some of the cell phones had better microphones, or with the way it was set up inside there, but he was just running straight. But, it's always been a kind of hindrance. You can't do much about signal, but as far as the actual sound itself, as long as it's clear, I went to a Rode mic, which I left the Blue Snowballs good for a meeting type situation. Like if you had a bunch of guys in the same room talking about metal, type thing, I could put it in the middle of the room and it'd pick up everything. But I think this Rode mic does a lot better than the Blue Snowball in that aspect of it. And I actually use this microphone with my shoot, Craig, what kind of camera do I have again? God darn it. I just had a brain freeze again. Anyways,
what kind of camera you got?
Yeah, my camcorder. Oh my God. Well, not the movie, the other one. At any rate, it goes what I do my videos with. I can't believe I forgot the name of it. My gosh, I'm getting old.
Oh, GoPro?
Yeah, GoPro. Why can't I remember that? I'm telling you. I'm losing my mind. I see. Well, we got Dave Ettinger on here tonight. And hey, Dave. And like I said, Michael Bowles, Nelson, Bob D's on, Relics Radio, which is Loy, Nelson. I saw Josh Kimmel on here earlier. Brandon's on here tonight. And of course, Bill Marsh is on. A lot of you guys on there. We're actually doing that morning show too, and I don't know how many of you guys have caught that. It's a little bit more. We're trying to stay more on topic on the Coffee with Derek and Craig. That's like 7:00 in the morning on Mondays and Fridays for sure, and then Wednesdays if we can do it. If not, I do an archive show type thing. And we're just trying to keep that. That's kind of like a whole different ball game. It's more for the morning commute, half an hour show. Just pick up a topic and start talking about it, kind of thing. And usually, we don't script anything really, Craig. I don't think we have in a long, long time. But it's just stuff that we may have forgotten about or whatever. Go ahead,
we
Craig.
may be. It's like you said. Why don't you talk about the shaft? The new shaft you got.
Right.
I just started talking about it. I didn't have anything scripted or anything.
Right.
I just, it's like I do my YouTube channel kind of the same way. I don't really script anything. It's just kind of live, and that just works for me, I guess. I don't like to do a lot of editing.
Right. That's one thing I don't like either. Video editing is okay, but it gets so crazy. And, a couple of people, I got a couple of emails. The guy said, "Oh, do you edit your show?" I said, "If I have to do that, I won't do it anymore." Only because it gets so... It's not fun for me to do that on a radio kind of show. Editing a video is hard enough to get an hour. If you shoot an hour of footage to get 20 minutes or something like that most of the time. And, with radio, you have to do it sometimes with advertisers and stuff like that, which is not a big deal. But I just don't want to sit there and edit the whole show up. It's not my thing. I'd probably hire somebody to do it if I ever had to go to that point. You got to enjoy what you do, or that part
of it. Talk radio is huge on AM and stuff. Probably not so much now. It's more onto the internet, but talk. People talking on the. It's just one of the main formats. I mean, and then anybody talking about a subject that they're knowledgeable in.
Right.
I was looking at people were talking about how do what can I do a podcast on? And people go, what is your hobby? What do you like to do? Do you travel? Do you, different things like that?
Do you paint? Do you take photos? Do you, you got to pick a topic that you know something about, and do it that way. Or you have to go the other route where you may know a lot about photography or stuff, but have interviews, whatever. I mean, it's just, you pick the path you want, what's fun for you. Don't pick something that's work, because, man, I tell you what, it'd make it for a long day. You go to work all day and then have to work again when you're doing your podcast. Content is a lot too. I mean, but
yeah, I heard guys taking 2 and 3 and 5 hours of editing on their and some of them were having it professionally done by somebody and paying for it.
Yeah, God bless.
I was like, what?
That's a lot of money. Yeah. But, if it makes them happy, that's what it comes right down to, Craig. It's like, we talk about metal detecting, with presets and, getting away from the presets and stuff. But if you're happy with running presets, by all means, do it, and, we try to give other options for that, where you're trying to get better and better with your detector, get all the power and performance you can out of it. You're going to have to get out of presets and start going in and making, figuring your own way through the settings and stuff. And, and that's why it's, people, if you haven't used a metal detector very much, it can be kind of daunting, but it's kind of fun to learn it too. You start learning what threshold and sensitivity and gain and all these different settings are and how you can improve them, how they work together. It is like a little symphony going on inside the metal detector, and you're using discrimination and turning sounds off and different tones. And, it's confusing at first, but it's not hard to learn. It's not bad to learn. But, when it comes right down to it, if you're happy with presets, by all means, turn it on and go. It's supposed to be fun. If it's got to be work, it's not fun anymore. So, and I think that's where we go with it more often. We have to be careful sometimes on the show. And I always tell Craig, we can't get too deep. Don't let me get too deep on this topic or something like that. Because we can, I've had some guys, email me back. What are you talking about when you're talking about recovery delay or something like that? Okay. I didn't explain it, and I want people to understand, but it's a learning process, just like any hobby. It's just like shop talk. If you're in a mechanic shop or anywhere else, most of these guys on here tonight and gals that metal detect, I even see Barb's checked in here too. Barb from Dirt Pirate Detecting. She's on here. She has her Facebook page and everything. I mean, they've been hunting for years, and they understand the lingo and all that stuff. And if you're new to the show, you'll catch on to it, and you can always jump on chat. These men and women on here, I tell you what, they're very educated people or something. I mean, I tell you what, there's one guy on here, Bill Marsh, Ohio Relic Hunter. I think if we ever need to know something, we just put it up there, and Bill's answering the question for us. I think Craig reads more stuff than I do and watches more documentaries than I do. And, it's just nice. It's nice to have, be surrounded by people like this. They do their thing, but they know the hobby backwards and forwards. I mean, Loy's been detecting for years. Josh has been detecting for years. It just, we know the ins and outs of the hobby, but we love to see new people getting into the hobby. And that's what seems to be happening in the past year or so, 2 years. They're young and old. They're getting into the hobby and asking more questions about what detectors to buy and, how to do this, how to get permissions on properties. I think a couple of weeks ago, Craig, wasn't it that I just hooked everything up, getting ready to do the show, and I had a caller call in before the show, and it would turn out to be somebody from California. I think it was Aaron from California, and I said, dude, just stay on the radio show. We're going to start up right here in. We'll just do a show on this. Okay, what do you mean? I said, well, just stay. It's just like talking on a telephone. Don't worry about it. I kind of threw him to the wolves a little bit, but we don't let you hang here anyways. But he had a lot of questions about how to get permission on properties or if you need to get them. And, it turned out to be a pretty good show, I thought. But that was spur of the moment. I mean, flat out, it didn't even, didn't even think twice about it. But he was panicking, I think, a little bit at the beginning. But, we're all pretty good. If any of these shows you call into, they're not going to let you sit there and squirm. They're going to help the show along. They're good hosts. I mean, Josh has always done this, and of course, Loy, and, he does a great job with it. I mean, they've been doing it a lot longer than us, but they're not going to let you sink. They're going to, keep the show going and keep your mind going on it. So even if you're not real comfortable about being on the show, it's like talking on a telephone. So, you just kind of go with it, and you'll be fine. But
I remember years ago they wanted to get Tim Glick on a couple of the shows, and he was, he didn't want to do it at all, They were asking me, you know him, why don't you talk to him, and so I was talking to Tim, and I said, well, he said, I'll do it if you go on with me. So I said, okay. So within about, I think we did Josh's show one time, and we did about 15 minutes. I had Tim laughing so hard that he forgot he was scared.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. That was pretty good.
And after he called me up the next day, and he said, "Man," he goes, "Man, that show went by so quick," and and I said, "You didn't even realize you'd been talking the whole time, huh?"
Yeah. Once you don't think about it.
He's actually doing his own videos, and I think he's got a YouTube channel or something now. And I've seen him do live stream, and he's on the Deus team now. And,
yeah, it's good.
Pretty cool. Yeah,
I got to hunt with Tim a couple of years ago. I guess it's been more than that, about 2015. And we hunted up, around. I'm just going to say south of Columbus, Ohio area. And I had a lot of fun, and he's a good guy. He's a character and a half, but you get to meet people all around him. I met most of you all at some time or another that are on chat right now. Bill Marsh up there at the CWPPO, Josh Kimmel over at the Detective Palooza. I mean, the Horsham hunt that we did up in Digging in Pennsylvania, the DIVs. We've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of great people in the hobby. So, Michael Boyles, we've hunted with him. I've hunted with him and talked with him. Heck, we're at the Florida Hunt 4, and I haven't got to the next one yet. I think we're up to Florida Hunt 6 in, February, Craig? Didn't they say something like that? I have to look into that a little bit. That's another thing about the Patreon thing, too. You guys are promoting a hunt or something like that. I'm more than happy to help you out. Through what we can do with Patreon and everything. It's because the cost of advertising the hunts. I mean, a couple of them had told me that they tried to, put their hunts up there, and it was going to cost quite a bit of money, to do that. And I don't, if it's for the hobby and it's for the guys in it, why not? Why not do it? And I know that, probably Loy is the same way, or Josh is the same way on his show, too. We'll get your names out there. Especially about a hunt, because it involves so many people and it's for a good cause. So, but to do it away from podcasting or through Facebook and everything, I mean, it's like, I think boosting posts is like $5 a day or $10 a day now. So yeah, $150 a month or whatever.
It's as much as you want to pay.
Yeah, and it's just you want to target people that it's in your audience, that like the hobby, not all these other people that really don't care one way or another. It's not their thing. Maybe they might be into cars or whatever else, but you want to target your information and involve everybody, young and old too, because we have a lot of young detectorists out there. I mean, we're talking, oh gosh, when we went to the Ohio hunt, we saw kids, 7, 8, 9 years old out there with detectors swinging just as long as the adults did out there, and then they fell asleep on Sunday in the middle of the thing. They were so whooped they were just falling asleep where they stood with their metal detector, just about. But yeah, younger crews are getting in here, but we got to have somebody to love the hobby as much as all of us do. I mean, really, Craig, we're all getting up there now. I mean, I'm hitting 50 this year. And you're I don't know, dinosaur now, aren't you? Just about. I guess we can call you that. I pick on you a little bit about it, but Craig gets around better than I do most of the time. But yeah, we've got these other generations of detectorists, but they're going to learn from somebody. Might as well be some people that they know, help them out and, show them the ropes, show them what to do, teach them the right etiquette and stuff like that. And heck, when I started, I mean, heck, I'd hunt with anybody. I want to learn about this hobby. I want to see what to do, what's right, how to adjust my detector, how to do this and that. And Craig, you did the kind of same thing back in the 80s or whatever it was you started at. I think it was the 80s, wasn't it? 80s, 82 or something like that. I mean, you were learning from people that probably were legends in the hobby of detecting. I mean,
well, my friend had been, he'd been hunting for, I don't know, 10 years or something, since he was a teenager. And, we played tennis a lot. And, remember that one day he showed me this $1 gold piece he found, and it was in the neighborhood kind of
right
where we were playing tennis, and it was an old school. I said, well, and he said Civil War soldier dropped it, and I was like, never seen anything like it, I don't think I'd ever seen a gold coin at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And So I was like, I was just kind of astounded about it. And he said, "This will probably be the only one I'll ever find." And like, I think it was 20 years later, I told him that he wanted a spot, and I told him about go behind this, across the street from this McDonald's. They're bulldozing all up and down that hill, and I found a half dime and a Eagle C button the other day there. And he goes back there and finds it with another $1 gold piece. So, but he was, he'd used quite a few machines, and he was actually selling machines, on the side. And I bought a machine from him like the next week, and after the first few days I went out, I found just I think the first day I found one wheat penny and maybe about 9 regular pennies. Right. And the ground was so hard. I had this little trowel, and it messed up. And I found out that this coin shop was selling metal detectors, and they sold trowels. So I got, and I've still got one that I use that I've had for years. It's just indestructible. It's got a wooden handle on it. But anyway, that's just how I got started. And I was big into tennis, and I was kind of getting tired of the politics in tennis, and the prices, the indoor courts had gone up, and everything had gotten more expensive. And I just found after about 3 or 4 months of metal detecting, I'd rather do that than play tennis. And none of my friends could understand it. They were like, "What?" And I, after a while, I decided, I had enough knowledge and skills in tennis, that I started teaching as a living after I had the business. But I just tennis became my main hobby. That's all I thought about. And the more I got into it, that's when I started really finding some cool stuff. And I had no idea what some of this stuff was at first. And my friend Mike was always saying, man, he goes, after about 2 years, he goes, I had to come to you to find out what stuff was.
Yeah.
Because I was buying these books, I had the button book, and once I started relic hunting, that's all. I like the exploring part,
Right.
And, it's like I watched the Stealth Diggers, and Charlie is he's going out like he went out like hiking 51 miles in 1 week looking for sites, in the middle of the summer in these mountains, looking for new cellar holes, places to dig. And it's kind of what we did. We'd go out, and we knew camps were in the area, just had to find them, and it's just vast sections of woods that there wasn't any paths. There was just,
you just went through
every once in a while. Yeah. What we did was we went up the creeks. That's I always kept the creek within, I knew where to walk to the creek.
Right.
And I didn't find my way back easily. But, it's, some of the places we found were, hadn't been touched very much. Almost every site had been found over the years, but the early machines didn't get much. Like they didn't get the deep buttons and stuff.
Right.
And so it was funny. It got so where we'd find more buttons and bullets, and I didn't mind that at all. I'd rather have the buttons.
Yeah, something about buttons. I mean, and they had it up on. I think I mentioned it a couple shows ago up on Barber's site there, that Dirt Pirate Detecting, the guy that had these animal head buttons that he's found over the years, and they're so ornate, Craig. They're so, something about buttons and tokens. They got a lot of character to them. Most of them do, anyways. And these real ornate ones he had on there, man, I was like, man, I'd love to find some of those. Maybe it was a deer head or a dog's head or whatever. Didn't matter. They're all the brass buttons and stuff like that. And it doesn't really matter to me how much they're worth. I know some of them are worth a lot of money, I'm sure. But it was just the character in the find itself and the story it tells and the tokens. I find tokens down here in Florida, and most of the time I can't find them in any books or nothing like that. But it's like one of a kind finds. You're not gonna find very many. Other ones, there's piles of them around. You find medals and watches and padlocks, and padlocks is another one that's you can get I've had some from the mid to late 1800s, and they're worth a lot of money. But it wasn't even that; just the way they made them and the etchings in them and all that kind of stuff. It just interests me. This old patina to them. Anything from probably anything earlier than 1940, I like. The 1920s, a roaring 20s, so to speak. Man, they had so much ornate jewelry. Yeah, well, a lot of it was silver plated, but the styling, even the lipstick tubes and the rouge containers and all that stuff were really, kind of neat. They just had a lot of character to them. So there's always going to be stuff to find. It may not all be Civil War stuff. I mean, we all want that. But, I think it's still out there to find, and people are still finding it every day. I mean, was it last week, Craig, that one guy found a breastplate? They're just not as plentiful. I mean, it used to be, probably just about laying on top of the ground 20 years ago. Craig, you talked about you'd find 150 or 200 bullets a day, or it was a bad day. Nowadays, if you find 2 or 3 bullets, you're doing doggone good. And you still find them in these sites. I mean, there's no site that's totally hunted out. I've learned that. I mean, because just too many places Craig's taken me to up there in Virginia that I know and he knows have been pounded to death by some of the legends in the hobby, so to speak. And they've hunted the crap out of them, but yet me and Craig can go in there and find something. So I know they're not hunted out yet, but it's more difficult. And as the machines get better and better, I mean, we're going to be able to uncover some more goodies in those areas. So, we often joke.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Craig.
Well, it's like over the years, I would have a good spot early on, and and after a while I couldn't find anything, and maybe a few years later I get a better machine and take it back to that spot. A lot of times it was a different frequency. I'd start finding stuff, and it would open up the place again. Of course you wouldn't find as much, but a lot of these sites you got to clear all the the first 4 inches of all the metal and stuff. And I had one site right next to my tennis shop, and it was a little strip of woods that went for about maybe 150 yards, and the bums had been in those woods for probably 50 years drinking, and there was so many beer cans, it was unbelievable. But it was, I think there was 3 plates found, just all kinds of buttons, gold coin, seeded coins,
right,
3-cent pieces, all kinds of, just, it was unbelievable. But there was just so much trash, pull tabs. And I would just pick a site. I would take like a 10, 20-foot area and just dig every single signal, and all these other guys would try to cherry pick, and I go, man, some of these pull tab signals could be, coins even,
gold rings.
They're in the range of 3. Yeah. But, it's, I didn't, mind doing the work. I got to the point where if I could find one really good thing a day, I went out. That was a good day. I was looking for a really good button mostly, or a coin. I got so where coins and buttons were my favorite thing to find. Kind of still are. But
I hunt that property out there, that Tollbridge property. I know there's 200 plus years history there, but I find bullets, I find shotgun shells, I find everything but button. I'm looking for buttons. I'm looking coins or whatever I can find to date the property. But I'm talking 400 and some odd acres of property, and it used to be a toll bridge and all this other stuff. And talk about not finding something, Craig. I mean, I've spent hours and hours. I mean, we're talking days and a lot of hours looking for where the activity is. It's not easy, or everybody be doing it. And you're not going to dig something good every single time you go out there. You got to dig a crap load of trash to find the treasure. And, and you're thankful for what you do find, because you start figuring it out where the activity was. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. But, it's it's not about the finding part; it's the hunting for it. That's where it's at. I mean, you just want to have something to show for the day, something something nice, something different. And Craig, it's awful funny. You talk about some things, and we've done this before. I know you've done it, and you say, "Man, I haven't found a real in quite a while." The next time Craig goes out, he finds a real or button or whatever. I talked about it when I haven't found a mercury dime ever on this piece of property. Next time I go out, I find a mercury dime. It's just weird how it works like that. But
your mind wills it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Your subconscious takes you right to the spot where it is.
Yeah, I'm looking for that pot of gold. True. Yeah, I just want to find the pot of gold. I'm saying it on the radio. Maybe tomorrow I'll find it.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, probably going to wrap up the show here real soon. But if you haven't, didn't hear, you can go over and check out the Patreon page at patreon.com /hardcore metal detecting. And, we put it up there. If anything else, you can take a look at it. You tell us what you think of it. I mean, be honest. We don't have to sugarcoat it. But, we wanted to involve more people in the hobby of metal detecting. We're kind of a cool community of people anyways. We're all like-minded. We come from different backgrounds and everything, but we love the hobby. And, so we were trying to do something a little bit different and everything, but check it out. And, of course, we're on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, and God, we're all on, I don't even know how many different formats of podcast radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and we're even actively trying for a couple that were not really listed out there as far as the normal ones out there. They're popular, but not in the same circle. So we're actually trying to get onto those too, and we're seeing what we have to do because they don't have a lot of outdoor shows on their format, and we're trying to get onto those too. And I think a couple other podcasts are doing the same thing. But check out Spreaker.com also for the other metal detecting shows. There's several on there, and they do a great job too. I mean, they have real neat interviews. Several. Maybe I know that Josh does, and of course Loy. They have great guests on and stuff like that, if that's your thing, or if you like unscripted, that's what me and Craig do. And there's a few more podcast shows out there too. But yeah, check us out on all the formats, especially Patreon. And I guess we'll talk next week, or actually on Monday morning, Craig. We may have to do the show a little bit early. I'll tell you about that after the show here. But we're trying to be on, have our coffee in the morning at 7 a.m. on Monday and Friday for a half an hour show while you guys drive to work. Just don't get on the chat while you're driving. No chatting and driving. I don't want to see you guys getting no wrecks. I should say, maybe somebody's driving right now. Don't be getting on Patreon and start looking at everything until you're off the road. Nah.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, thanks for listening out there, and we'll talk to you on Thursdays and Saturday nights at 8 p.m. right here for Hardcore Metal Detecting regular show, and then on Monday and Fridays mornings at 7 a.m. for Coffee with Derek and Craig. Thanks for listening. Have a good night, and God bless.